Who are new to my space. My name is Jenny Glick. I'm a relationship mentor is what I call myself. I like that name better than coach. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, a certified sex therapist. In this space, I'm a mentor. So it's my job to help you get from point A to point B in your relationship. I know it's not linear, right? It's a spiral when we do this work. And I also know that we do get to have outcomes. The big question that came in was, how do I hold myself accountable to my word in my relationship? So when I make that commitment to create change, to show up maybe calmer in conflict, to learn how to be more curious with my partner rather than critical, to do my own up-leveling work, how to anchor myself so that I don't lash out at my partner and make them wrong, or pull the past, what I'm angry about from the past, or my fears for the future, how to not do that when we're in conversation, but instead really stay present to the moment. If you are here live and care to post a question or comment about what I'm talking about, please do so in the chat. I will keep my eye on the comment feed and answer any comments that you might have as I am here live. And if you're watching the replay, please hashtag replay. Feel free, again, to post any questions, comments, anything further that you might have. These spaces are much more rich when we can be actively involved with each other. I want this information to be relevant to you. So how do you hold yourself to your word? Number one, you get really clear with your intention, okay? One of the things that I do with the women who I mentor is we get really clear about who it is that they're practicing showing up as, who it is that they want to be in their relationship. Because most of us have this kind of vague idea where we say things like, well, we need to communicate better, or we need to figure out how to have balance, or I know that I need to be patient, but my partner gets really angry. And I can't be patient when my partner's angry. So none of those ways of talking about an intention or a goal will help you create a clear outcome. So when I work with my clients, we get so crystal clear on who it is that they're practicing being. So how it is that they're showing up first thing in the morning. If you've been watching my videos over the years, I talk about this all the time, because one of the primary ways that you hold yourself accountable to your word is consistency, right? This is true in marriage, and it's also true in business. For those of you who are entrepreneurs, and I know that there are a lot of women in the space who are entrepreneurs, who own their own businesses, and they know that the difference between someone who's successful in business and someone who's not is consistency, right? You set the intention that you are going to be successful, period. I just wrote a post about this on my personal page, which I'll share in here. I'll put a link to it so you can read it if you care to, about the importance of maintaining consistency and deciding that you're going to be successful, period. Right? One of the reasons why I'm successful as a business owner, and I've been self-employed for about 15 years now, is because I've just decided I'm successful. And you can do that in your marriage too. So how it is that you hold yourself to your word is you decide, and the word decide, the etymology of this is it means to cut off. You cut off, quote unquote, failure. And there's no failure, right? We just learn. There's a saying, you either win or you learn. So you decide that I'm going to, like in my program, part of what the women decide to do is to show up every morning and engage in some form of a morning practice. So they're showing up to anchor in this higher version of themselves, this version of themselves that they know they can be and they can practice embodying in their relationship, not to fix their marriage, because I don't know what's going to happen in their relationship. I work with a lot of women who are separated, who are divorced, who are looking for a partner, they're single, and they recognize that the ways that they have shown up with their partners previously have included codependence, avoidance, collapsing their identity into their partner's identity, losing themselves in the relationship, not being vulnerable, not knowing how to experience pleasure, all kinds of things, right? So you don't need to be married to do this work. You need to just be interested in up-leveling yourself and your relationship with yourself. So the women who I work with learn how to be consistent by engaging in daily practices. So they have a variety of different morning practices that they can engage in. And so that kind of consistency reminds them, this is how and who I'm going to be every single day, regardless of what's happening around me, right? And then they learn about pivoting. We talked about that on our group call today. So part of how I help to nourish that consistency in my 8-week relationship mastery course is we have 2 group calls a week. And in those calls, they get to talk about, share their celebrations and then bring any questions that are coming. And so that rhythm of our Monday and Thursday calls that we have help them pivot back into a place of alignment, a place of integrity, reminding them, why did I decide to sign up for this? Right? Because I'm tired of having arguments. I'm tired of losing my temper. I'm tired of not feeling connected to my partner or myself. Right? And so that consistency is really important. And when we lose that, which I saw, not infrequently in therapy, where, when I worked traditionally, couples or individuals would show up and they would have a lot of interest in doing the new thing that I was teaching them, but then they would go home and drop back into the old, right? So consistency is super important. And that consistency only comes with commitment. So that's the commitment. So the primary question here was, how do I stay committed, hold myself accountable to my word? You commit. And I'm a big fan of committing in a way that feels uncomfortable. Committing in a way that feels uncomfortable. Because a way that feels comfortable for me to commit is probably not going to require me to get out of my comfort zone, right? And so lately for me, I have been realizing that I need to up my commitment with how it is that I exercise and take care of my body in that way. Because when I'm not committed to a trainer or a program or paying someone or something, I tend to not follow through because I'm busy and I'm checking email and the dog needs to be walked and this needs to happen. And wow, look, it's 10 o'clock and I'm going to do this call. And look at that. I didn't do the exercise thing that I thought I was going to do, right? I didn't hold myself to my word. But part of that is because your word is this. It's not a thought, right? The thought that I'm going to change in my marriage, the thought that I need to cool off my temper, or I need to learn how to speak up or articulate what's going on for me, or practice being vulnerable, or invite pleasure into my relationship, whatever it might be. If it's a thought, it hasn't yet formed to a word, right? For me right now, it's like thinking I'd like to work out with somebody maybe, or maybe I should join a gym, right? It's thought. But until it's a word and then I put an action behind it, it's probably going to not be something that I will follow through with because I'm not creating alignment around that. Do you get how that's different? Part of the alignment comes because you're lining up the thought, the word, the action, and the feeling. And all of that can create so much momentum to move you forward. That's so important for you to recognize. Because if I'm just thinking I need to do things differently, but then my word is, I really wish my partner would change. This is super annoying. And then my actions are, I'm just going to have a glass of wine tonight and I'm not going to bother engaging in a new way. And my feeling is, harumph, right? This is annoying. How come it's always my job? You see that misalignment like this, like a hose with a bunch of knots in it. There's not that channel to create something different. And similarly for me, I'm thinking, so now I need to speak it by doing some research, finding somebody to work with, investing in their thing, right? And then showing up 3 days a week to make it happen. So all of those things need to come together in order for me to stay committed to my word, because when it's not spoken, it's probably not going to go anywhere. So I hope that that's helpful for you all. That alignment is super important for you. If you feel like what it is that I'm teaching might be a good fit for you, I'm going to put some links below. Feel free to reach out to me. So thank you so much for being here. Look forward to seeing you next week. Take great care of yourself.